I'm Sadali, and today in this video I will tell you everything that you need to know about web scraping using Python. So first we will start with request library and BeautifulSoup and lxml library to parse the HTML response that we get from request library. And after that, once we collect data using these libraries, we will go to some more professional tool, that is Scrapy Framework. Then we will crawl a complete website, all the pages of e-commerce website, and using Scrapy Framework. There you will learn everything that you need to know about Scrapy Framework, and once we collect data using Scrapy, we will move on to Selenium automation. So in this video you will learn, in the end of this video you will be able to scrap a website using request library, BeautifulSoup. You will learn about Scrapy Framework and Selenium automation. So stay with me. Let's start. Okay, before we start, there are few libraries that you need to install, and there are few softwares that we will be using. So let me give you some overview about the libraries first. We will start with request library and BeautifulSoup and XPath library. So let's have a look at them first. If you want to use and see the libraries and their documentation, just type Python requests and documentation. This is the first library that we are going to use, and this library is used to send HTTP requests, and in response we get the HTML response. Just let me show you what responses look like. If you just right click on a website and go to page source, you will see the all the response that all the data that is being displayed on the browser and its source code. This is what you get when you send a HTTP request over Python using Python request library. So this library we are going to use in the beginning, and after that we will use once we get this HTML response, we need another library to process this raw HTML data. So to do that, we have two different libraries. First one is BeautifulSoup, that is commonly used and pretty popular, but I think there are some alternatives that are more flexible and faster than this library. Although this is pretty powerful library, but we will be looking at other options as well. So let's look at BeautifulSoup documentation first. BeautifulSoup is common, also known as BS4, BeautifulSoup 4. So both of them are same things. You don't need to confuse. Okay, for BeautifulSoup, let's go to its documentation first. Okay, this is the BeautifulSoup documentation, and another library that as an alternative to BeautifulSoup that we can use is lxml library. I recommend that because it supports XPaths, and XPaths are later used in both Scrapy and Selenium browser automation as well. So I recommend using lxml library instead of BeautifulSoup. So let's have a look at this one as well. It is it's also very powerful library. It can parse LXML, HTMLs and XMLs and everything you need to parse the feeds and APIs and everything. So you can use that as well, and also the BeautifulSoup, of course. Okay, so these three libraries in the beginning we are going to use. Once we complete these three, we will be moving forward to using our Scrapy Framework and Selenium library. So Scrapy, let's look at Scrapy documentation as well. So there is community support as well. So you can, if you have any issues, you are getting bugs, you can search and you will be able to find the solutions pretty quickly. Okay. So this is good that a library that is widely available, and it has a community support. It's a good idea to use that library. Okay, so this is the documentation that you can use for Scrapy and Selenium as well. Let's go to Selenium, Python. So remember that for Scrapy is only available in Python. So if you type Scrapy documentation, you will get the Python documentation. But if you have to look for Selenium documentation, make sure to mention the Python, because Selenium is also available in Java. Okay, so this is the documentation. This is not very well let's say in-depth documentation, but it's enough to get you started. Okay, it's very simple, and you can find your code examples as well. So these are the libraries that we are going to use. So okay, before I start, I'm sure you have already installed an IDE first. If you have not, remember that we have like multiple options to choose from when it comes to IDEs. This is the anaconda distribution, and there are two distributions available for this. One is community and one is, I think, professional. But if you look here, you can just type anaconda distribution anaconda python download, and it will get you here anaconda.com product distribution. Just download anaconda and you will get pretty much everything that you need. So the first thing is that you will need an IDE where you can write your code, and second thing is that where you can test your code. Okay, so you cannot just type all the code and then you run it and you get into the bugs and then you solve them and run again. That takes a lot of time. So to avoid that, just you do two things. You can do, if you have Anaconda Navigator, you can open Jupyter Notebook. If Anaconda Navigator installed in your computer, just open the terminal. There are two things. First is, if you are using MacBook and your Anaconda is installed in your computer, just type Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter space notebook. When you press enter, it will launch a local host, something like this. Let me show you in the beginning. Let me close this one. This is already running on Anaconda Navigator, so let me close this and show you again. Okay. Just a minute. Okay, you type Jupyter Notebook and press enter. It will launch a Jupyter Notebook in the same directory where your terminal is. Okay, right now it's in project in my MacBook right now, so it has launched Anaconda in the same directory. So this is how it works in MacBook. But if you have Windows, you can watch the video and install Anaconda first, and after that you have to open Anaconda terminal, search Anaconda terminal, Anaconda prompt in your search bar, and you will get the option to open the Anaconda prompt. Once you open that, you can just type Jupyter Notebook, the same, and it will simply open this thing. Okay, and you just need to go to, let's say in my case, I'll go to tutorials folder here, click on tutorials, but you can click new here and first create a new folder and name whatever you want, and then you can create a Python file after you navigate into that. Okay, so in this case, let me create a new Python folder here. Simple folder directory here, and let me find out where it is. Titled folder. Okay, here it is. Okay, not this one. This is the one. Let me just new folder and new folder one. This is the folder that I have created now. Just let's edit that. Just check it here and rename it, and let me call it a complete web scraping tutorial. Okay, so let's rename this, and you will see the name change here. This is a folder that I'm going to use. Let's open this, and to create a new Python file, just click on this one and it will create a new Python file inside that directory. Okay, this is not a .py file. It is let me show you in the folder. Let's go to our tutorials folder first. This is the tutorial folder, and I have bunch of tutorials already. And okay, if you look here, this is .ipynb file. Okay, this is not a Python file. This is basically ipy notebook file. So okay, once you open there, you create that, and you can run Python codes here. You can test your Python code, and later on you will need an IDE to copy and paste your code there, and then you will save it .py file, and then you can run it. Okay, so okay, you will find out examples and later in the same video, so don't worry about it. After that, let me show you the IDEs. No, before that, let me show the terminal as well. First thing is, either you can test your code here. If you don't want to go open Jupyter Notebook, or you don't want to download Anaconda, install Anaconda, or you already have a IDE like Pycharm or any other, so, and you don't want to install Jupyter Notebook, that's fine. You can open your terminal either if it is your Anaconda terminal or your MacBook terminal. Just open that and you will be able to, let me just go to, don't worry about this, I'm just cleaning this up. Okay, now what you need to do is just type Scrapy shell here, and you will see a couple of commands here. But if you don't have Scrapy installed in your computer, that is also can be a problem. So let me just quit out of it first and show you how to install Scrapy. Okay, instead of Scrapy, just type Python 3 and you will have another terminal of Python 3 where you can test your codes as well. Okay, I'll tell you how to install Scrapy once we get there. And now here you can test your codes, and let's say, let me print something here, hello world, sorry, world. Okay, and it just executes the line at the same time. Okay, this is how terminals works. If you are using Anaconda navigator, Anaconda prompt, or Anaconda terminal, just type Python, simple Python, and it should open you the terminal. If Python 3 doesn't work, just type Python. Okay, and now that you have you know how to which libraries you are going to use, which terminal or notebook you are going to use to test your code. And after that, now let me tell you which IDE is best for you. Now we have a few options here. If you are running on a computer that has low RAM, or you have so many other things, so you don't want Python IDE to take a lot of space, so in that case, if you have installed an Anaconda navigator, you can use Spyder inside the Anaconda navigator. You don't need to launch the Anaconda every time. Just open terminal if you're using Anaconda, or if you have let's say a MacBook and you are using its terminal, just type Spyder here, Spyder. And I don't have Anaconda installed in my computer right now, so it will just raise this error. But let me just show you how to run Spyder in your computer. Okay, now let me show you how to use your Anaconda navigator if you are using Windows. Okay, now let me, okay, this is your how your Windows will look like. Just download and install Anaconda navigator. Simple, straightforward process. Just once you complete installation, just go to search here and type Anaconda, and it will show you this black logo with the Anaconda prompt. Just click on that and it will open a terminal for you. Okay, to run a Python code on your Anaconda navigator, just type Python and it will open a shell for you. Here you can type anything and hello world, and press enter, and it will just execute. So you can test your codes here, or if you just quit out of it and type let's say if you want to run Jupyter notebook on your computer, on your Windows computer, just type Jupyter notebook, press enter, and it will create a Jupyter notebook for you. If you have Anaconda installed on your computer, and this command will work on Anaconda prompt. Okay, you cannot use your default command line terminal for this one. Okay, so if you look here, I have launch this, and if that is not opening a browser for you, or you want to use a different browser, just look at this terminal and copy this thing from here and paste it in your browser, and it will open the Jupyter notebook in your local host. Okay, so okay, after that you can navigate anywhere. In my case, let's go to desktop, and if I want to create I have tutorial folder here. Just click on new and do the same process as I'm showing in you in MacBook. Process same. Just this is how you create a new Jupyter notebook file inside the Windows. Okay, okay, now let's go back to our MacBook and see. Okay, now let me show you some IDEs. If you have other things running on your computer and you don't want IDE to take a lot of space in your computer and a lot of RAM of your computer, you can go with lightweight options as well. And there are some heavy, and I can't say heavy, but complex IDEs as well that you can use. And some IDEs there is built-in terminal, so you can run Python codes inside those terminals instead of using Windows default terminal or MacBook default terminal. or you can write Python code and then you can run that in your terminal. Okay, so this is a little confusing, but let me give you some examples and it will be a lot easier to understand. Okay, so let me show you a few options first. Okay, if you're looking for some lightweight IDE, and there are some complex IDEs as well, so if you're looking for something lightweight, then you can download Atom. Let me quickly show you that one first. Just type atom.io. It should get you to the website of Atom. This is an open source IDE. This is really lightweight and it is not much of trouble. Just simply download and type your code. It has really nice syntax as well and coloring and everything, so you can download this one. Just click on download. Will select your operating system by default and just click on download and it will download the IDE for you. Or you can go with the Pycharm. Pycharm a little complex IDE. It has its own term. I recommend you to use Pycharm. Okay, so this is really good IDE. It has its own Python console and terminal as well, so you can use that as well. So okay, after that I think these two are pretty good options. If you are using Anaconda navigator, you can use Spyder as well. So let's go. Let me just go there, and this Windows, let me type Spyder in the search bar and you will find a logo like this one, Spyder, SPYD or Spyder, and you can click on that and it will open the ID for you. Okay, something like this. Okay, this is how it will look like. It will create let me just close everything else first. Okay, if you look here, it has its own terminal shell as well, and it has the coding part, and it has user console as well. So it is really good if you want to use Spyder, and if you install Anaconda navigator. To sum up it like this, you don't need anything else. Just use Jupyter notebook for testing. Okay, use terminal if you want to use shell or you want to run command on your terminal, and you can use ID like Spyder to write your code and run your code as well. So this like built-in all-in-one solution, Anaconda navigator. Just install it. If you're a beginner, don't worry about anything else. Just go to Anaconda navigator, download and install that library software, and then just launch Jupyter notebook and Spyder in parallel, and just start coding. Okay, so this is what happens a lot of time. People ask me this question, that when they start, they are unable to solve these terminal problems, and they get a lot of errors while installing new libraries and starting to learn the Python. So instead of getting into that, just download Anaconda navigator and start learning Python. So these are few options that I wanted to show you before I start. Okay, so let's start. Now that you know which IDE that you are going to use and which Python libraries we are going to talk about in this complete Python web scraping tutorial, so let's start with some basic examples of request library. Before we start, just make sure that you install those libraries into your terminal. If you're using MacBook terminal, just type pip install, pip3 install in most cases, but if you have only pip install, just type pip install requests. I recommend using pip3 in MacBook because most of the time we have both pip Python 2 and pip3 Python 3 as well. So just type pip3 install requests and it will install Python request library in your MacBook computer. Okay, in my case it's already installed, so I'm not it's not installing all. It says request already satisfied. Okay, so just type that, it will install request library. So if you're using Windows, just let me go to Windows as well and open the Anaconda terminal. Let's open another terminal. It's already running, so let's another. Okay, you can see that I have two terminals open. It's fine, you can open as many terminals as you want. Type pip install requests, hit enter, and it will install request library in terminal as well. So once it's installed in terminal, you can use that in Spyder, you can use that in your Jupyter notebook as well. Okay, so once it is installed, let me show you. I think it will say request already satisfied here as well. Okay, request requirement already satisfied. Okay, so it means that Python request libraries is already installed in my computer. All right, let's go back to our terminal. And okay, after that I think we will need to install BeautifulSoup and Selenium and Scrapy as well, but let's just go with the requests only for now. Okay, so let's make our first request. To request the HTML, let's import our request library first. Just run this code and it will import the request library in Jupyter Notebook. So first, the website I'm going to use in while testing is this web scraping sandbag. That sorry, just a minute to scrape. Okay, this is basically a fictional bookstore and library that is used for learning of web scraping. So you can use that this website as well. So just let me copy this link and let's open our website here. Bookstart to scrape. This is basically web scraping sandbox. You can use this website for testing and running codes and scrape this website and test your code, okay, using this website. All right, let's copy this link and test our request library. Let's assign the variable as response equals to requests dot get. In this case we are going to use get, and we have other options as well. Let me show you the response first. Okay, we have made a request. Let's see our response. If you type response, it will tell you that your response is 200, but let me get the status code only. Okay, you can see that we have 200 response. Remember that there are different types of response codes. If response is in 200, let's say between 200 to 300, it means that response was successful. Okay, and if you get response something like more than 300, or in 300 range, or in 400 range, in 500 range, in 300 range, it means that your link is redirecting to some other page. If it is in 400 range, it means that you're making too many requests, your server is blocking your requests. And if it is 500, that means that you are making invalid requests. If you are sending let's say if you are making a login request to a website and you are not using the right link for that, or you are not adding required credentials, that will or you have an API and you are not using right API, it will return something like 500 status code. Okay, so this is how you differentiate between status codes. So if it is 200 or more than 200, less than 300, of course, it means that your request was successful and you got what you wanted. Okay, so to print the text, just type text and you will get all the text of that website. This is the raw text and this raw string basically. So what you need is that you need another library to extract the data that you need from this raw data. Okay, so for this one we will need BeautifulSoup or lxml library. So before I go there, let me show you some other request methods. So right now what you can do is with request, there are I should say few ways you can send a request to a website. First one is the get one. Let me show you the website. It's better if I show you here. If you right click on your in a website and go to inspect element, you will get it, and or you can just go to view and go to developer section and click on inspect element, and this window will open on the right side probably, but you can realign it by clicking on these three button dots and realign it into bottom if you want to. Okay, just click on network. I'm here on network. Just let's refresh this page and see what we get here. Okay, it made a few requests and it is not very complex, so it is loading just few files. That is fine. Okay, let's close this one and go there and open this one as well. Okay, if you look here, we have got some response, and if you look here, we have made this request to this page, and the request method is get request, just like we did in our example here. We sent a request dot get request using request library. This is the same get request that is showing here. After that we got 304 response. It means that it redirected to another page. Okay, and which is fine. We got the data, so we don't need to worry about that. And after that, it's just show some other examples, other things that we will discuss later on in this video: request response header, request header, and stuff like that. So apart from this get request, we can make post request, we can make alter request, and some other. Let me show you. Let's leave it here. Oh my god. Okay, let me write it down again. I by mistake removed it. Not get. Okay, let's add a new row here, and let me show you requests dot. We can make a post request. Post request is made when we are sending some data with it. If we have API, if we have some login credentials, or we have to send submit a form in a search query where link is not changing, so we have to send the data with the body of request. So we make post request in this case. If you, in simple words, when we are sending data to server, we use post request. Okay, and we can use some other requests as well, but alter, I guess we have alter request, we have delete request. So this mainly we will be working with get and post request only in this web scraping tutorial. That's what we need, and these alter and delete requests are not very much used in during web scraping. Okay, so all right, let's move on. We got our data response.txt. Now we are going to use some parsing libraries to extract the information that we need from this raw HTML. Let's so before that, let's install those libraries. Let's pip install. In our case, let's type bs4 and hit enter. It's already satisfied installed, I guess. So it says BeautifulSoup 4 requirement already satisfied, so we can import bs4, or you can call it BeautifulSoup 4 or bs4. Both of them will work fine. Let's import that. Import bs4. Okay, you can see that it didn't raise any error. That means that it is successfully imported. Okay, so let's use that library, I guess. Beautiful to let's call it soup. This is just a convention to use soup when we are passing that raw data to this library. So let's call it a soup and equals to bs4 and response.txt. Module object is not callable, so let's call it BeautifulSoup, and it should work fine. Okay, so in this case, what you are going to do is that from bs4 you can either import, just do it like this: from bs4 import BeautifulSoup. Okay, or you can just import BeautifulSoup just like I did, and then do this, and it will do the same thing. Okay, bs soup equals to bs4, and let's print our soup and let's see what we get. If you look here, from before, instead of, let me test, just print response, and let me show you the difference. Okay, if you look here, you can see that the data is in raw form. You can see the /n. This is new for new row and all that, but it is just printed like a string. But in this case, if you look here, it is well structured. I can identify the tags here, I can identify the attributes and links, everything. So once you pass that raw data to this library, it will rearrange the whole text, the raw HTML, and it will be much more readable. Okay, so this is why we use this library. So let's now it will be we can use this library to parse this HTML as well. So let's parse that sorry, let's parse the HTML. What we want is that we have some information on the website right here. Let's get some titles. Okay, let's okay, we have some containers here. If you look here in the inside article, we have all the information that we need. the title of the book, the price, and the stock value, if it is available or not. So inside we can use uh, this article and class to get what we need. Let's go back to our Jupyter notebook and type soup.find find all, and inside that just type the first one should be the tag one, and second should be the, we need to pass I guess just a minute, it's been class. Okay, let's run this, and if you look here we have got some details. Let's get us first one, and if you look here we have got the HTML of first article. It starts from article and ends with article / article. So we got first article, and now we have the list of articles, list of all the containers of products. So now what we can do is we can let's just print the title here. From h3 tag we will need to get the text. Okay, so let's go there and see, let's call it soups or containers maybe, and now we are going to loop through these containers and get the titles, okay, using BeautifulSoup. So to do that, just type for container in containers, and here you can let's print some h3 tags, container dot find all, and instead I think we can use find as well. Okay, let's just use find all for now. Okay, container dot find all, just go to your h3 tag. Let's find all the h3 tags and the text inside of them. Okay, h3, and in there we are not using any attributes, so let's just print this one. Okay, if you look here we have got all the h3 tags, and within h3 tags we will be extracting data from a tag. Okay, so let's just go to a tag dot find. I think I should just use find first and then find a tag. Okay, if you look here we have got all the a tags here. Just to get the tags, just type get underscore text and hit enter, and you will see all the text being extracted from each of these containers. So this is how you use BeautifulSoup. You can also use other libraries like lxml library, which supports XPath. So if you get familiar with the XPath in the beginning, it will be helpful later on when you are learning, let's say, Scrapy or Selenium automation. Okay, so okay, let's have a look at the lxml library as well. Let's import. We will be importing from lxml, import HTML. Okay, now we are going to use lxml library to parse the same response that we pass using BeautifulSoup. So to do that, import HTML from lxml, and after that let's pass this. Let me remove these two. Okay, let's call it soup as well, and soup equals to we are going to use HTML. So let's type HTML dot, from here we will be using from string, and response dot content, or you can type text as well, I think. Okay, we have got the soup, so let's print that soup as well. Okay, if you remember the soup before, when we passed data using BeautifulSoup, we got the well formatted HTML file, but right now we have got HTML element. Okay, that comes from string lxml library. So what we can do is we can run our XPaths on that. So let's try this one. So to do that, type soup.xpath, and within these brackets type your XPath. Okay, / and let's get what we did in our previous BeautifulSoup example. Just get our container first, article and class. The reason I say it is more flexible is that we just type the same thing in SAM and as a pass export as a string to this library, and we get all the things that we need. Like it is really complex, and it is really helpful when you are writing complex like queries to get the data. Okay, so let's go to article, and we need the class like this. So let's run it, and you will see that we have got all the class article elements here. Okay, now let's loop over these and get our title as well. So for element in this soup.xpath, so to get the each element, just type print element not xpath. And remember that if you are running an xpath on an element sub, let's say sub element of main let's say soup, then you should start your xpath with dot. Okay, dot double slash and what we needed is that we needed I guess h3. Okay, h3 and slash a. So let's get that as well, h3 slash a, and to get the text just type slash text and run, and you will see that you will get all the titles from that page. So this is how you get how this is how you parse your HTML using lxml library or BeautifulSoup. So this is really for absolute beginners. So if you have any questions related to this request library or BeautifulSoup, you can ask. So as far as examples are concerned, as I go along with Scrapy and Scrapy, I'll go in more details about these libraries and how you can handle different problems. Okay, so okay, now let's move on to our next step, which is using this website using Scrapy framework. So I hope you understand so far how we are using how we have used request library, BeautifulSoup, and our lxml library to parse the HTML. So now understand that the whole process is done separately so far, right? First we are sending a request, then we are using another library to parse that HTML. And if you have to export that collected data to, let's say, to CSV or HTML or let's say Excel file or to that database as well, then we will need some additional libraries to achieve their task. Okay, so right now we have another a complete framework that is responsible, that can handle all of these things in single library, which is Scrapy framework. That's why we call it a framework. Others are libraries, and this is a framework. Okay, so let me show you some documentation first. Okay, remember that Scrapy is actually built in Python, so it's only available in Python. Okay, unlike Selenium, it is just a complete web scraping tool, which handles multiple requests, parallel, concurrent requests, different HTTP responses and proxies, etc. Okay, so all of that in one framework, and this is built in Python, so it's not available in any other language. Okay, right now let's move on to our installing this library. To install that, let's type pip3 and install Scrapy. Most of these libraries, almost all the libraries are already installed, so it says requirement already satisfied, but when you do that, it will simply install the libraries for you. Same is for Windows here. Let me just go to my Windows. Okay, this is the Windows, and just type pip install Scrapy, and it will install Scrapy framework in your terminal. All right, now that we have our Scrapy library installed in our computer, now what we are going to do is all right, what one thing to note here is that before we were using Jupyter notebook, but now we will have to create a project, and then we will be using our IDE for that. Okay, so right now I have this IDE Pycharm installed in my computer, so I'm going to use that. If you don't have any IDE installed in your computer, as I said before, you have a few options here, but if you want to install Pycharm, just go to Pycharm install, and it should just a second, Pycharm download. Just type Pycharm download, and there's official website, and there are two versions of it: professional, community. Just download the community version, it's free, and I think it has all the required features that you will need. Okay, so just install that, and after you install, it's just simple. Let me just close this one and show you how you can. Okay, when you launch Pycharm, just a second. Okay, now it's closed. Let me launch it again. Once you launch it, it will show you a window something like this, but not the projects. Okay, so to do that, just click on open, go to directory, just any directory, and click, let's say, just a second. In my case, if I want projects to be opened in my Pycharm, I'll just select that and click on open, and it will simply open that project in this Pycharm window. Okay, so if you want to load another file, just simply you can drag and drop that as well, and it will work just fine. All right, let's just open that and go to our tutorials folder, and okay, so if you see here, we have this tutorials folder here. What we are going to do now is that we are going to use this folder and add a Scrapy project inside of that. Okay, so let's do that, and right now I'm in terminal project, so let's navigate there, cd to our tutorials folder, and then cd to complete web scraping tutorial. Let's check how many files we have in there. We have just Pycharm, sorry, notebook file here. Okay, so let's create our project. Remember that whenever you are creating a project, make sure that you are in the directory where you want to create the project, because when you start a Scrapy project, it will create multiple files in that location. So make sure it is there are not many files in there, so that you can identify which ones are the Scrapy project files and which are not. Okay, all right, so right now we have just one file in there, and let's start our project here. To do that, type Scrapy start project, and if you don't remember like how to start project, just type Scrapy and press enter. Okay, it will show you how to start a project. You see here we have multiple options here. If you look down here, we have start project option. Just type that after Scrapy start project, press enter. It will tell you what the syntax of how you start a project. If you look here, usage Scrapy start project, first you will have to mention the project name. After that, you will have to mention the project directory. Okay, so let's do that, and let's call it our tutorial, and after space you can mention the directory, or if you don't mention the directory, it will simply start the project in the same directory. Okay, all right, so now we have our project, and inside tutorial we have our complete web scraping. Okay, let me open that. Okay, now we have this tutorial project. If you look inside of this folder, you will see that we have tutorials folder, another tutorials folder, and inside of that we have items, middleware, pipeline, settings, and within that another folder which is Spyder. So all the Spyders that we will create now will be saved inside this Spyders folder. All the other files like items, middleware, pipelines, settings, all of these are settings files basically that allow us to like configure our requests and how we want to process our outputs and inputs and everything. So let's just create our first Spyder and see how we can scrape our website. Okay, so to do that, just type Scrapy, and if you scroll up, we had an option of Gen Spyder here. Just type Gen Spyder after that and press enter. It will tell you what we need next. Okay, Scrapy, Gen Spyder, name and domain. Name of the Spyder is what we are going to call our Spyder. Actually, we can add multiple Spyders inside one project, so that's why we have to give our Spyder every Spyder a unique name. So let's give it our give Spyder our name first, and this is the this is the website we are going to scrape. So let's call it books, and after that we paste the name of the website. So make sure that you remove this HTTP part so that it doesn't duplicate that in our Spyder. Okay, let's press enter, and it will say create Spyder books using template basic. Okay, now we have our Spyder in our Spyders folder. Let's see if we can find that out. If you look here, It's empty. Okay, what I did wrong is that I did not navigate to this tutorials folder, and it just created the Spyder in the same directory. So let's delete this one and create again. Okay, so let's do that again. Let's cd to tutorials folder, and now let's run the command again. Press enter. Now we have spiders.book. Okay, let's see if we have our Spyder in the right place or not. If you look here, we have books.py file in our Spyder, which means we have successfully created our Spyder. Okay, so let's see what we have in that file. Go to tutorial, spiders, and books. Okay, if you look here, it has by default created a class for me, book Spyder, and within that class it has named it books, allowed domain, and start URLs. It is the default structure of general Spyder that we initially, when we mentioned the Spyder name, we called it Scrapy Gen Spyder books. So it created a generic Spyder, which is the short term for Gen. Okay. Now let's go back to our Spyder and see what we can do with it. Now if you look here, what it will do is that it will stick to these allowed domains. It will not go to any other. Let's say if I want to open multiple links, and if somehow it gets to a Facebook or Twitter link or any other social media or a link that is not within this website, it will simply avoid those links. Okay. And after that, this is the start URL, which means that it will simply send the request to this URL. There can be more than one links in here in this list. So if you want to send, if you have list of links, then you can add that list to this place. Okay. Let's parse the response and let's see how we can scrape our website. Let's come back to our website, and the same thing we will follow like we did in our lxml library. We used XPath, and I said before, if you get familiar with XPaths, you can use those XPaths in Scrapy and Selenium as well. So that's what I meant. Let's copy the same XPath from here and paste it here. So just a minute. Okay, remember, see, whenever it sends request to these links inside this list, all the responses are passed on to this pass method. Okay. All right, so let's change the name. So since if you look here, we have response inside this parameter, so let's type response here, and after that we need to collect some information. Let's just copy that from here, and the only difference is just we need to mention get at the end of it, and if there are more than one, we need to mention get all here. This is the title, I guess, so let's name it title, and after that we can get few more details from here, and that we will be exporting to our CSV file. Okay, so let's get the price as well, product price. Okay, so let's copy that, and okay, let's do one more thing here. Let me tell you how you can use Scrapy shell to test your code as well as you go along and build your crawler. You don't need to like type all the codes and then you run and find out that if the script is running fine or not. Just make sure code is running fine. To do that, you can simply use Scrapy shell. To use that, type Scrapy shell shell, press enter, and it will simply load a scraper for you, Scrapy shell for you. Okay, inside this shell you can use some Scrapy functionalities to like test your code. Okay, to get the data from a link, you can type fetch, and inside of that fetch just copy and paste this. Let me clear the window first. Okay, now type fetch and paste the link here and just simply send request to it. Just press enter and it will send request, and it will get the response. Okay, now we have response here. this is the response. This is how it saves the response. When you send when you do this fetch method, it will simply save all the response in this response method. Okay, now we can use this response to collect our information from this website. Okay, now let's use this one that I have already tested, I guess. And now the title. Okay, now we need, next thing is price equals to element dot xpath, and same thing, dot, start with dot whenever you are using sub tag here. Let's okay, now we use product price, div tag, and class. After that it's p tag, so just simply type /p, and there are two p tags. Just make sure that you mention the which p tag you want from it. Just type one. Okay, now just type text, and just close the bracket and get the element. Now what else we need is that we also can collect the stock information as well. So let's get the stock information from this tag. Let's go, yes, let's use this stock equals to element dot xpath, and after that let's type our xcode p, and okay, let's test that first, and then we will be able to, okay, just get it p, and that class /text, and get all. Let's test that, because I can see that it's not the first element, so it might not get if I use get element. Anyways, let's just check that. Okay, okay, we are here. Let's use get all, and let's print everything here, comma title, comma price and stock. Okay, if you look here, we have got title, this is the price, and after that if you look here, we have stock information as well, but these are two values basically. Let me just clear this out and you will have better view of it. Let me just only print the stock. Okay, now if you look here, these are two values inside this list. First one is just the empty new row character, and after that is in stock. So what I need to do is I need because I need the second part of it, let's just mention it in our xpath only. Okay, if you look here, we have got what we needed. Just strip that, and okay, now I'm going to strip that so that it just looks clean. Okay, let's print that now. Price. Okay, dot strip, what dot strip does is that it just removes like special characters or spaces from in the start and end of the string. Okay, so you can use that as well. Okay, if you look here, we have got title, okay, price, and the stock value. Okay, now let me just clean that out so that you can see that better. Let's and okay, now you can see that this is the title, this is the price, and this is the stock, and so on. Okay, so now it means that this part of script is working fine. Let's copy that into our code. We got title, we have got price, we have got stock, and let's not print that. Okay, now what we need is that we need to export this information to CSV file, otherwise it is not useful for us. So let's just to export a file, export information to CSV file, you just need to yield it, type yield, and inside of that just let me just quickly copy all of them at once. Okay, let's do that, and Okay, to create multiple these points, just if you are using, I think both of them have same, you just press option and just click on multiple places and you can type multiple things at the same time. Okay. All right, now we have title, price and stock. We are going to yield these three into a CSV file. Let's go back to our terminal and let's get out of it this okay, let's go to tutorials, cd to complete web scraping. Okay, cd to tutorial again, and now we are inside our Scrapy tutorial. So let's run our Scrapy Spyder. To run that, you need to type Scrapy. Okay, and now crawl, and after that name of your Spyder. So far we have you see the file name is books. Okay, and you can change the file name or the project name, but Spyder name will always be what's mentioned here. Okay, inside this name, and name equals to books. Okay, you are going to use this name to run the crawler. Okay, and to output the file that we yielded, you just need to mention -o, and after that type the name you want the file to be. Okay, output.csv and press enter. Wait a little, and you can see that it just it has printed as well, yielded the details to CSV. Let's go back to our Spyder project and see if we have the file. If you look here, we have output.csv file here. Let's open that and see if we have got the information that we needed. All right, if you look here, you can see that we have got all the details that we wanted: title, price, stock, all the titles, all the 20 titles, 20 price and 20 stock. All right, now now you know how to create a Spyder and how to collect parse the response of an HTML that we get using start request. Now let's go one step further, and now I will tell you how you can collect details, collect data from multiple pages of a same website. If you look here, we have all the listings, but what we don't have is that we don't have all the books on the same page, but we have multiple pages. If you look here, we have one of 50 pages, which means we have total 50 pages, but we have got only details from first page. Okay, so let's navigate to next pages and get the details from there as well. Okay, let's go back to our Spyder, and to do that, let's get our next page link first. Next page equals to, let's see what is the next page here. Let's right click on that and click inspect, and it will directly take you there, navigate you to that HTML tag. Okay, or you can just click on this arrow and click on this element wherever you want to focus. All right, now if you look here, we have li tag and class attribute with next, and we have this tag inside of it. So let's copy this one and use li tag as well. First let's test this on our terminal, response.xpath, and okay, now what we had li tag, and li tag had this class attribute and /a. Let's see how many elements we get. So we have one response here. Let's get it, and if you see, we have got that href element here. Let's extract the attribute from it. To extract attribute from an element or tag, just type // and @ href. If you want source, just type at source, or if there is any attribute within that tag you want, you can just simply type / @ and href. Okay, now we have got this. Let's use this xpath and xpath in our code. Okay, now remember that this is a partial link, right? If you look here, this is not a complete link, this is a partial link. To complete this link, we need to do one more thing here, but before that, let's make sure we get the link. So we apply if statement here, if next page, because if there is no next page, it should not send request to it. It will raise an error. Okay, so let's make sure that we get the page. Here we have mentioned next page, and after that, let's complete our next page. equals to response.url join. It's a built-in method within response object so that you can complete a link, a partial link, and complete that link. Okay, so inside of that, let's mention next page, and now we are going to send a request back to our parse method, and that request response will be the response of the next page. Okay, so let's yield Scrapy dot request. We are going to use requests of Scrapy, and within that we will mention next page and comma, and we will call back to parse method. What it means is that self dot parse, it's a class object, so we have to mention self with it. Okay, what it does is that first it will send request to this link. Okay, after that the response of this link will go into parse method, and within that parse method will parse this response and get all the details from the page title, price, stock. Once it does that, it will yield all these details to CSV, and it will look for next page. If the next page exists, it will check that, and then it will complete that link, and after that it will yield that send request to that next page, and the response of that next page will be sent back to this parse method, and then the same method will be performed again and again as long as we get the next page. Okay, so let's run that and see what we have. Let's delete our previous, let's just keep it and change the name of it. Okay, now we have tutorial scrapy crawl books and dash o output. Let's call it output underscore 1. Let's run that, and you will see that the Spyder will go through all the pages instead of one page, and until the end of the pages, and it will collect the data, and at the end it will export all the details to our CSV file. If you look here, it is going through pages 17, 18, 19, 20. Now it's 32. I think it should go up to 50 page. Okay, as you can see that Scraper has concluded, and okay, let's have a look at logs here. And if you see here, it has sent 51 requests and got 200 responses from 50 links. Okay, all right, now I think we have got all the 50 pages, and I don't see any errors at the end, so I think it ran just fine. And it got if you look here, it says stored CSV feed 100 items in output underscore 1 dot 1 dot CSV. So it means that we got 100 items from 50 pages, so that makes sense. Okay, let's go back to our file and see if we have really got all the 1000 items from the website. All right, if you look here, we have got all three columns: title, price, and stock. Let's scroll down to the bottom, and data looks fine. 1000, including the column header column, we got 1001 columns rows. So I suppose our scraper ran just fine, and now I'm sure you understand how to build a crawler and use the callback as well. Now you can parse the method. This is how you parse a response, and this is how you use the callback method. Okay, so this is the introduction of the Scrapy framework. So after that, you can change. Let me just go through a few things in the setting. Okay, before you start scraping a website, make sure that you have a look at reports.txt file. Okay, so let me just quickly show you reports. Any website has a reports.txt file by default in it. Sometimes it is configured and sometimes it's not, but most of the time most of the time it's there. To check there, just go to remove everything after the domain and just type reports.txt. Here it will tell you everything that you need to know about a website's policy about reports. And if you look here, it tells you that if a browser or a bot, a script, anything that doesn't have a user agent is not allowed to do these things. and sitemap is also given here. And this is just an overview of the website's policy against the bots and anyone who visits the websites. Okay, so what you need to do is that before you start scraping a website, if you set this rewards text underscore web equals to true, it will respect the rewards.txt file of the website. So which means that if a website tells you that you don't crawl the website if you don't have header, it will not crawl the website if you don't put header in the settings file. So make sure that if you want the bot to follow the rewards.txt file, just set it true, and if you don't want it, just make sure that you change that to false. Okay. All right, now concurrent request, if you have a good internet connection, and also most importantly, if the server you're trying to scrape is can afford so many requests at a time in parallel, then you should change it to, you can increase that and you can decrease that as well. Sometimes servers do not entertain too many requests in concurrent, so by default it's 16. You can increase that to 32 or 100. You can also reduce that to 8 and 1 as well. So that's something that you can do. And after that, there is download delay. Sometimes you want to add delay between requests, just uncomment that and add delay here. Okay, by default there is no delay. Okay, it is sending requests and getting the request without much delay. So you can set that as well. By default it's 0. So if you want to add the delay, just uncomment that and set that to anything that you want. After that, we have some other details. Concurrent requests per domain. If you are calling multiple domains per IP, means if you are using proxy then and you want to send a certain number of requests per IP, that you can configure here. Cookies, and here is the header that I was talking about. Just set uncomment that if you want to crawl the websites that do not allow users to crawl the website without if they don't have header on it. So just uncomment that and it will just go unnoticed. Okay, so after that we have a bunch of other stuffs related to middlewares and pipelines as well. Some have other details. So if you are looking to go into details, just follow the documentations. Whatever you need, you will follow in this framework. This the good thing about Scrapy is that it is a complete framework. It can handle pretty much everything that let's say web scraping has to face, or you have to face when you are scraping a website. So if you are looking for some tool or library that can handle everything and that is a complete package, then I think I would highly recommend the Scrapy framework. So alright, now we are I think we are familiar with Scrapy as well. Now let's quickly jump to the Selenium framework. I will be using Selenium 4 right now. I think there's some differences between Selenium 3 and Selenium 4. The way we used to get elements, now it is a little different. So let's just go there and I'll explain what it means. So let's go there. Let's import our Selenium here. So what we are going to do is we are going to use WebDriver from Selenium. So let's import WebDriver here from Selenium. Import WebDriver. Let's launch this, and I think I should remove the rest of the code from here. Okay, now we have imported our Selenium WebDriver. Okay, now what I'm going to use is I'm going to use Firefox driver. So let me explain how you can set up WebDriver as well. Okay, let's just launch the driver first. Driver equals to WebDriver dot Chrome. Sorry, Firefox. Okay, now you can see that it has launched the Firefox, but when you will do that, it will raise an error for you. So let me tell you how you can solve that problem. First, what you are going to do is that you are going to download Selenium WebDriver for you. If you are using Chrome, just type Chrome WebDriver download, and it will show you this website. Just click on this one, and it will show you different options here for downloads. If you don't know what Chrome version you are using right now, just click on these three dots, go to help and about Chrome, and here you will see your version of Chrome. It is, for me, it is 104, and this one. So let's see if we have WebDriver compatible with this version of the Chrome. And 5112, we have 512101. So the closest one is, I guess, this one, 5112. So let's just download this. So main version is, the main difference is 103, 104, and 105. Make sure you download the one that is compatible with your computer. Okay. If you look here, this is the different. If you are using Linux, just download Linux. If you are using Mac, just download Mac. And yes, there is difference between M1 MacBooks and the other one. So make sure you download M1 version if you are using M1 MacBook, and also Win32. For Windows, both of them are same, Win32 and Win64. So don't worry about it. Just download this one. Okay. And once you download that, you will get a zip file. Let me just quickly download it. Okay, once you click on that, it will download a zip file. That zip file you are going to use in your path of that file that it contains. You are going to use that. Let me just quickly show you how it works. Okay, all right. Let me just. Okay, this is the Chrome driver that I was talking about. You just need to copy that and paste it in your directory, or what you can do is that you can copy its path and add it here. Because I'm using, let me just use it path equals to this, and to get the path, I guess what I do is that I just drag and drop it into the terminal and get the path. Let's just copy this path and paste it here. Let me first close our Firefox one and try to run this one. Alright, it's probably not getting path as an argument. Okay, I need to give some permissions as well, so I just need to go to settings first. Privacy settings, and as you look here, it says Chrome was blocked, so I just need to allow that and run again. Okay, if you look here, now we can access Chrome from our Jupyter notebook by just mentioning the path of the file that I have just downloaded, and Selenium Webdriver. Okay, so this is the driver that we are going to use. So it is the simplest way to to, let's say, launch the WebDriver. You can add the path to you can add the. Okay, so this is the simplest way you can access your Chrome WebDriver by adding the path here. You can also what you can do is that you can simply add this path to your default system paths, and that way you can simply leave that empty and you can access your Chrome driver as well. It's a lot simpler in MacBook, but in Windows it's better if you download, and the way I mentioned, you should use the same way as well, so that it's a lot easier to do that. Okay, so let's use our driver here. To get a link, let's use the same website that we scraped. Okay, let's copy this link and come back to our Jupyter notebook. I'm using Jupyter notebook for Selenium as well, because Selenium is a library, not a framework, so we just need to import WebDriver and we are good to go. Okay, let's get our link first. Okay, I'll just copy this link and use this link to test Selenium as well. So let's copy that and go back to our Selenium Jupyter notebook, and what I need to do is that to get a link, if you look here, we have the window open. So to get a link, we can just type driver.get and paste the link here and click run. When you do that, it will load the page that I just entered in that, passed it on to get method of driver. So remember that it's not like the requests get, it is different. It is Selenium's get, so you cannot just do driver.post or anything. Okay, it just supports get only. All right, now let's okay, one thing to make sure is that whenever you get a link inside this window, or when you get a link using driver, make sure that just look around, make sure you get all the elements that you would normally get when loading the website in your browser. Sometimes what happens is that sometimes websites do block this Selenium WebDriver as well. So if you are trying to get a page and it doesn't load at all, or taking too long to load, it will take time and you will not be able to get all the elements, or maybe any elements you want. Okay, so just make sure that whenever you load a page you are getting all the elements, all the elements of the page are being loaded on the browser driver. Okay, all right, so let's move on and get some elements from here as well. Just like I said before, XPath, we are going to use XPath here as well. So let's bring our XPaths from I suppose Scrapy, and let's see if those work in our. Alright, now I'm going to use the same website that we have scraped before. Now let's just move on to collecting the elements, and I'm going to take some help from our Scrapy code here. Let's just copy this part of the code, not yield one, just these for loop. Okay, let's copy that to our code. Okay, I'm going to use this one later. So okay, now let me get some elements here. Driver dot find. If you look here, I got all the by class, by selector, by ID and everything, because my current Selenium version is less than 4. And if you are using 4, if you build a Selenium bot in Selenium version less than 4, and when you try to run that in Selenium 4, then you will get into this error, because it doesn't recognize Selenium. This is what I'm talking about. Find element by XPath. Selenium 4 doesn't recognize this, so just make sure you don't use it. Okay, so let's go there and type by. Okay, before I use by, I need to import that as well. So let's import from Selenium dot webdriver dot common dot by import by. All right, let's run that, and now we have Selenium. Okay, now I'm going to use XPath. So to use XPath, you need to mention by dot XPath in caps. Okay, after that just type comma, and inside here we can use our XPath. I'm just going to use this XPath because I think we have practiced it for twice, I guess. Okay, you can see that we have got the element, but it's not just one element. So remember that if you want to get multiple elements, you need to mention elements, find elements instead of element, and run that, and you can see that we have got all the elements here, and which is good. So I'm going to loop over this. So let's just copy this one and apply a loop here for element in this. Sorry. Now I'm going to use all of these. So let's copy them and do this. But there's slight difference. Make sure that you don't mess this up. I'm copying this because I don't want to type title and XPath again and again. Okay, but you have to type this part. Let's skip element, but this part you need to type find elements. Sorry, and inside that element you just need to remove that, and we have got our XPath here, and by dot XPath. And we have got our, and in Selenium there is slight difference between Selenium XPath and Scrapy XPath. Inside Selenium, in Scrapy what we do is if we want to get the text, we mention /text, and after that we type dot get, and we are able to get the text of that element. But in Selenium we have to just leave that, remove that, and at the end we need to mention dot text. Okay, sorry, dot text. This way we are going to get all the elements. So let me just I suppose I should copy that path. Okay, now at the end I'm going to remove this X path here as well, and just type text. Okay, let's try printing them. Title, price, and stock. We made some syntax error. Let's forgot to mention dot text here, so let's run this. Okay, as you can see that I've got title, price, and stock value. So this is what we wanted, and now what I can do is that I can click on next element, the next button here, and then we can go through the pages and get the elements as well. So to do that, I'm just going to, let's instead of using this, let's define a function, and inside that it will be much easier to like use the callback of that function instead of typing that over and over again. So let's define a function. Let's call it get products, get books, and driver is globally defined, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to get the next page link, not the next page link, but next page element. Next page equals to, for next page what we have is that we have, just a second, next is the text. So let's use the text driver dot find find element by dot next path, and I can use by text, but I prefer to use XPath. So it depends on you. What is your preference? If you want to directly use text or selector CSS or anything, then you can use that. But I'm kind of used to using XPath, so I prefer writing XPath. Okay, so let's just type text here. Sorry. I think next here, let's test if we can get if that XPath is correct. Let's now remove this and run that. If you look here, I've got something here, which means this driver, this piece of code is working fine. Okay, now let's click on that next page. to click on an element, just look at that element just like I did here, and once you do that, just do this dot click. Okay, and let's run that, and now let's call our function get books. Let's run that, and okay, okay, now you will see that it will get the product, but one thing I did not okay, one thing I needed to do is that I needed to add some wait time, because once it clicks on it, it doesn't know that new page is loading, so it cannot, if it cannot find anything here, or it will either raise an error or it will just end without any error. So let's add some sleep time here. Let's call it 4 seconds. And for sleep, just type from time import sleep. You don't need to install anything, just type from time import sleep and load this, and you should be able to use this sleep. Okay, now let's run that again and try to run this one again. Okay, we are already on page 2, so it loaded the page 3, and we'll wait for 4 seconds and try to get the elements again. Okay, it didn't. Okay, what it does is that simply find all these products and then click on next page, and then it is supposed to call back. What I did not do is that I didn't call this method again, so it just scrapes the first page, click on next page, and it just doesn't do anything else. So I just need to get books, and just need to make sure that we have next page, so it doesn't if next page. Okay, so far you have learned how to get attributes from Scrapy as well, and BeautifulSoup, but now I will tell you how you can get attributes. From attributes I mean href links, source links, and everything that is present inside the tag. So to do that, you just need to mention dot get attribute at the end of an element. So let me just show you how. Right now what I'm doing is that I'm going to make sure that the next button is enabled and it has a link, because sometimes at the end of all the pages next button is still there but it is disabled and it doesn't have a link, so it doesn't work. And I don't want to repeat the same scrape the same page again and again, so I just need to make sure that there is a link and there is the next page. Okay, to do that, just type if next link next page dot get attribute href, and after that, once it sees that href, and after that it is going to click on next page. And let's leave for like 6 seconds here, and after that you are going to click on call back the same method again. It goes to next page and it's going to call back, perform the same method. As long as it has the next page, it will do the same thing over and over again. So let's run that and execute this script. And okay, let me see my code here. Okay, if you see here, it is clicking on the next pages, and okay, now page 4. It will load the page, wait for 6 seconds, and it's going to click on next page. Okay, if you look here, it is going to next page and it is getting all the elements. We will keep doing that until the end of the pages. So what I can do is that I can simply change that convert for like it goes to go to 50 pages. So let's skip it to 45 so that we can get a end of the page much faster. Okay, now it's on 46. It's getting the data from it. 47. 48. 49. 50. Okay, it has some error that it did not get next, so it didn't get the element of the next button, so it raised this error. Okay, so which is fine. You can add try except as well here, so that you don't have to deal with these errors. But I'm sure you have the understanding how you can build this Selenium board, simple Selenium board to scrape a website. Okay, this is it for today, and thanks for watching. So far, I'm sure you now understand how to create a simple scraper using requests and BeautifulSoup lxml library, and I'm sure you also understand now how to use Scrapy Framework, some basic understanding of it, and you can build a basic board using these steps as well. And also Selenium automation. The reason I select these few libraries is because these are the latest libraries that are used right now for web scraping and web automation as well, if you are talking about Selenium Webdriver. So this is it for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe the channel as well. So have a nice day.